book. It's called Advice from Dad, and it's just various advice things such as self-talk, and how to deal with your energy, trust, integrity, all kinds of things. And I actually met this author when I was giving a speech at a different conference. And so I really listened to people when they come to talk with me. And I said I'd never do a nonfiction, but I had to. We also have 3 chapter books. Well, 2 of them are chapter books. One's a middle grade. You learn the difference. A middle grade is slightly longer, and there usually aren't as many illustrations as a chapter book. The Howling Vowels. I signed on this author because as soon as I read it, the words of my daughter about Little House and how that wasn't modern came back to me. It's a modern day Little House book, even set with a family who moves from New York City to Minnesota. I just fell in love with it. It's super sweet. Also have novel concept about 2 homeschooling girls who write a novel. And then my absolute favorite, and it's not mine, but when I read it, I just knew immediately that I had to publish this because it's called Cody Green and the Rainbow Mystery, and it's about a little boy who's homeschooled, who lives in an art gallery, and he solves an art theft. And we have 10 illustrators who worked on this project. And having worked with 10 illustrators, it was so fun. I'm always looking for new illustrators too, because sometimes I'll receive the perfect query letter, but I can't quite figure out what the illustrations will be. We have about half a dozen books lined up to be published over the next year, but it's my goal to keep selling more and more of these books so that I can put all, and I'm putting all, other than author royalties and paying for illustrators and all of that, I'm not taking a salary because this is my passion. I'm rolling all of that money back into getting another book out there. I'm hoping to take a salary someday, maybe when we have about 100 books or so, but at this point, I'm determined to get books out there about realistic homeschoolers. The thing is, it's scary. It's scary to do something different than normal. When we made the decision to become unschoolers, I was petrified. When I made the decision to even look outside of traditional publishing, I was petrified. I had to really stretch myself in order to be willing to even look at something different. When my daughters were really little, my husband and I decided to go on a date. Before we were married, we'd gone to see They Might Be Giants in concert, and I love that band. And so when we saw that they were going to be right where we lived, we decided it's time for us to go on a date. We found a really good friend, and we dropped the kids off, and I was super excited. We parked our car about a block and a half away from the venue, super close, small venue, and we walked behind the building up to the front to the ticket office, and I handed over my tickets, and it was pretty much our first date that we'd had since having kids, so it'd been like 7 years or something. And I said, we're here to see They Might Be Giants, and I had a big smile on my face. I was gonna have the best night in a long time. And the ticket lady said, oh, I'm so happy you're so excited. We have a really big treat for you tonight. They Might Be Giants is playing. But first, we have just gotten word earlier today that we're going to have 3 other local bands play first. And everyone has really been wanting to hear them. So you get that treat. And I said, okay, that sounds fun. But I really came here for They Might Be Giants. They're still going to play at 9 o'clock, right? She said, 9 o'clock? No, we're making a night of it. They should start around 11. I said, but I only have a babysitter until 11. What am I supposed to do? We went back and forth, and she was really nice, and she actually ended up giving us our money back. I was dejected. So we started walking back to the car. What are we going to do tonight? And we've got 2.5 hours. What are we going to do? We actually ended up grocery shopping, which is kind of lame. But as we walked to the car discussing this, I noticed there was a small building behind the venue, and there was a door open in, and I could see light coming out from the door. And we walked closer, and I looked, and I said, "Is that? And I stepped closer again, and I grabbed my husband's arm, and I said, "It is! It's John and John from They Might Be Giants! Wow, they're just sitting there, just hanging out." He said, "Go get an autograph. Go get an autograph. You love them. Go." And I'm like, "No, I can't. I'm not going to embarrass myself. No. They think I'm stupid. I can't." And he's like, "No, go, go, go." Finally, he talked me into it. So we're walking over there. I'm not feeling confident, but we're walking over there. We get about 2 feet from the door, and slam, closed, right in my face. It's like they saw me walking up there, and slammed it in my face. My opportunity was gone. All because I'd taken too long to stretch myself. I was too scared to make a fool of myself. And I would have, but they probably got it all the time. They're a famous rock band. I don't know, they wouldn't have even remembered me after I walked out the door. What was my problem? Fear. Fear was my problem. And fear was my problem in starting a publishing company too. Fear was my problem in everything in life. You can't be overwhelmed by fear. You also can't take anybody's advice 100%. I thought I could, but you can't. And I was just going to tell you not to take my advice either, but my advice is to not take my advice, and so take that advice. The fact is, not a single person on earth has ever been in your shoes. No one. And so the solution for me is not the solution for you, nor is it the solution for you. It's a unique solution for you on your path. And so take everyone's advice, and then pick and choose what you want to do. Same with homeschooling. Our kids are all different. We homeschool differently. Even if we all call it unschooling, it's not the same in all of our houses. And don't let fear get in your way. That is the reason why I wrote those 27 empowerment questions, which you don't need to look at now, but they're the last 2 pages, because I wrote those all to myself as a reminder of what am I scared of and how to get over that fear. And so I wrote those questions and I wrote out the answers in order so that I could get over my fear. And so I decided, as you know, I said I'm starting a publishing company. I started telling all my friends, all my writer friends. And the first thing they did is they started saying, "Oh, you don't want to do that. That's a big mistake. After all, money should always flow to the author and never any other way around. And if you start a publishing company or self-publish or do anything like that, you're going to get a bad reputation. And you'll never be able to break into the traditional publishing world ever. You're going to tarnish your reputation, and no one will be interested in what you have to say ever." I questioned, money should always flow to the author and not the other way around. Is it true? I made a big list of money myths that's in that packet also, because the fact is, every single one of you here has either given money or time or both to be here today. This wasn't free. It cost you something. While time is, of course, your biggest asset, money is a really important one too. And if we're going to treat writing as a career, as a business, we have to spend money to make money. You have to spend money to belong to writers' groups. You have to spend money to go to conferences. You have to spend money to get edits done. Spend money to get critiques PhDs. You have to spend money to own a computer to write on. You always have to spend money. And saying that you don't is like telling a store down the street, oh, you don't need to spend money on marketing or products or lighting, and you don't have to pay your taxes. People just come to you. No, they won't. Why would we think they would? You have to spend money to make money. It's a big myth. And by 2009, I had put so many hours into writing query letters. I was looking at that number of hours and the fact that I'd lost so much of my writer's voice. And I asked myself, what would I do? How much money would I be willing to pay if I could get that time back? Hundreds of hours. I added it up, and even at minimum wage, I would have been happy to have paid out $10,000 to get that time back of lost energy. That's ridiculous. Because if you really want to go the query letter route, unless of course you love writing query letters, which some people do, in fact some people do that for a living. Those same people, you can call them up on the phone, talk about your book casually for an hour, and they will spit out the perfect query letter for you, and it costs about 60 bucks. 60 bucks! I would have loved to have paid 60 bucks for a perfect query letter. Treat your writing as a business. No matter which way you publish, give serious consideration to either starting an LLC or an S corporation, not a sole proprietorship, and not just doing it on your own. I say that, and yes, there are costs involved, but the second you become a real business, all kinds of things become tax deductible, and you're treated more respectfully in the writing community. Stephen King he has a business. Every big name author has a business. Their copyright is under their business, not their self. And maybe their name is the name of their business. But it makes a lot of sense, and I encourage everyone to get a CPA, unless you are a CPA already, to help you figure that all out. Becoming an S corporation and hiring a CPA was one of the best decisions I ever made. And that brings me back to fear. Just as I predicted, as I started publishing books, I knew nothing hardly. And so I kept freaking out over and over again. I kept having these oh no moments. And it made me question, am I on the right path? Am I doing what I should be doing? Meanwhile, I've been a Girl Scout leader for about 11 or 12 years now, and the week that I had the biggest oh no in regards to publishing, I was also planning a Girl Scout meeting. The girls, the troop, we'd all gone to the Tucson Gem and Mineral show. And the girls all saw these beautiful gem trees that were essentially wire with little tiny gemstones attached to it, and they were all attached to either a rock or a piece of driftwood or something like that. They were really pretty. And the girls all kept saying, oh, I want to buy one, I want to buy one. And they were all at least $30, and most were $60 or $100. And I thought, hey, maybe we can do this as a Girl Scout project. I bet we can do it for, a few dollars a girl. So I started looking up different directions on how to make gem trees. And by the way, you can look on my blog, just doliferite.com, for great directions on how to do that. And so we didn't find directions that we liked. And so my daughters and I decided to sort of combine directions. We went shopping. We got the wire we were supposed to get, the little gemstones. We bought beautiful rocks to attach the wire to, and this special gem-safe glue so that it would never harm the wire or the gems. And I'm following the directions. I get out my wire, following it along. I'm folding it, and I cut it just the way it was supposed to. I start fanning out the pieces, getting it up here, and at a certain point, I look at it, and I look at it, and I go, oh no, this looks like trash. Who's going to want to make that? The meeting has to be changed. We can't do it. I failed. We'll just pay for the supplies ourselves. It's a disaster. I can't do it. It's a mistake. And my older daughter, she's always encouraging me, and my younger daughter, who was encouraging too, who just walked in, and she said, I understand you're feeling freaked out, but let's just try to do the next step. I said, but I can't do the next step. It's too hard, and my fingers are glued together. I need a break. I can't do it. She's like, okay, well, let's pry your fingers apart. Let's do the next step. We can do it. We can do it. Took a deep breath. I pried my fingers apart, and I started manipulating the wire exactly the way the directions said. And the next thing I knew, we had a tree. And it was gorgeous. And I said, but how did that turn into that when I was all freaked out in the middle? Easy. Easy, my daughter said. You always do this. We have an oh no stage. And I noticed when she said that it was a pattern in every big thing I'd ever done. Every book I've published, I've had an oh no stage. Every big, huge decision, I've had an oh no stage. And now I'm actually excited when I have an oh no stage because I know I am almost there. That oh no stage is the key to me telling me, you're almost there. You've almost reached your goal. It's pretty exciting. It's also natural to go through it. That fear, that oh no, normal and natural. So remember that. You'll probably walk away confused, frustrated, full of fear, and you'll have that oh no stage. And this is the perfect opportunity to remember what the rich do. They ask for help when they need it. They hire out things when they need it, and they talk about their problems with other people. If you decide to go the route of dealing with editors and agents, remember that you are in charge. You are hiring them. They cannot have a book unless you exist. And so if you don't like the answers you're getting, walk away. Go to someone else. If you don't like the answers you're getting there, walk away from that too. You can always walk away because you are in charge of what you're doing. And as I was growing my company, I decided I needed more help from people who were in a sort of situation similar to mine, which was difficult to find. And I started asking around a lot, and I decided to start a rich author mastermind group. And we capped it off at 8 people. We started this in 2010 with the goal of getting everyone over that brick wall in whatever way worked best for them, to be all encouraging to each individual, to get them from poor writer to rich author. And I am absolutely thrilled to say that as of just a couple weeks ago, all 8 of us are published authors making money off of our writing. I'm thrilled about that. And so you can find other like-minded people, just like you can find others in the homeschooling community to be like-minded, to help you through problems. You can do the same in publishing. If you just do one thing every day, no matter how small it is, to further your writing career, you'll get to your goals so much faster than you ever could have imagined. While I wish that I had 100 books published, I'm still astounded that I have 11 published.